Notice given April 22, 2016 by Anna von Reitz, Part 2. This is your notice of these facts. 16. Was it ever the intent of the founders of this country that any Congress operating in any capacity whatsoever would ever be granted any right of despotism over the people via any means, mechanism, or pretense? The preamble of the actual Constitution, which is a trust indenture forever obligating the government of the United States however that government is defined, gives the answer, which was further elucidated by the Bill of Rights. As all the foregoing demonstrates, you are each and collectively in breach of trust and in commercial and administrative default with respect to your presumed public offices and are operating as the administrators of an international crime syndicate with respect to the people and states of the Union you are hired to protect and which you have freely claimed to represent. This is your notice of these facts. 17. The seedbed of these crimes against Americans has been the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, which has been used as a staging ground for these heinous activities by the British Crown and its operatives, and the United Nations Corporation (UN Corp), not to be confused with the United Nations, which has sought by various means of similar fraud and force to impose its administration upon us and all other sovereign nations. This is your notice of these facts. 18. We have informed the Secretary-General of the United Nations and the United States Secretary of State and the Joint Chiefs of Staff and hereby give notice to the United States Congress that these acts of virulent crime against the American people and the states of the Union and all claims and presumptions based upon them must come to an immediate and permanent stop. Full disclosure and remedy must be provided to all natural-born American state nationals and all their vessels in commerce must receive full cure and maintenance without further obfuscation, avoidance, or delay. The operations of the trustees of the insolvent United States, Inc. and the administrators of the United States of America, Inc. must be brought under control and forced to comply with both national and international law. If President Obama objects, he must be impeached without further excuse or delay. This is your notice of these facts. 18. Any officer, corporate or otherwise of the United States or its government however defined who fails to take immediate and forceful action to correct and remedy these practices and issues in favor of the American people and the states of the Union shall be in full admission of treason against the same. This is your notice of these facts. 19. Any officer, corporate or otherwise of the United States of America or its government however defined who fails to take immediate and forceful action to correct and remedy these practices and issues in favor of the American people and the states of the Union shall be in full admission of treason against the same. This is your notice of these facts. 20. Operatives of the British Crown and UN Corporation staged initially in Puerto Rico and now operating out of Florida are implementing a propaganda campaign against the peaceful non-combatant people of the states of the Union and again mischaracterizing them as sovereign citizens. This is an oxymoron demonstrating the complete ignorance of those applying such a label to American state nationals. It is not possible to be or to act as a sovereign and at the same time to be or to act as a citizen. The apparent motive for this PR campaign is to excuse the taking of violent action against the American people and against their states of the Union and to provoke an armed insurrection which would then give these same corporate crime syndicates a plausible excuse for killing their creditors. This is precisely what happened in Nazi Germany and it is threatening to happen here and now. Any attempt on the part of the trustees of the bankrupt and insolvent United States or on the part of the operators of the United States of America to provoke such a contest or make such false claims against their creditors will be instantly and internationally recognized for the specious and self-interested crime that it is. This is your notice of these facts. 21. As the United States Congress is uniquely and specifically responsible for the administration and indeed, the misadministration, of the territories and the District of Columbia, it is incumbent upon each one of you to put an end to the international crimes being perpetuated by and within the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico against the people of the United States and to put an end to the efforts of the British Crown and UN Corporation to further parasitize and mischaracterize and misrepresent us. Failure to do so will have permanent and extremely unpleasant results for all parties engaged in this international crime spree. This is your notice of these facts. 22. The free, sovereign and independent people of the United States. Quote, "The definitive Treaty of Peace, 1783, are still alive and well and competent to act in their own behalf and in behalf of their sovereign nation-states. We have kept our part of the constitutional bargain and paid for the services we agreed to receive and also a great many services that we did not agree to receive and for which we do not owe. We have loyally stood by the British and French governments through 2 world wars, and this present miasma is the thanks we have received for our support. The mechanism and implementation of these commercial frauds and personage practices against the unsuspecting people and organic states of the Union was provided by the British government and by undeclared foreign agents, especially by members of the American Bar Association acting in violation of the 1947 Bar Association Treaty. The presumptions being exercised against us by the so-called governments of these corporations, DBA United States and the United States of America, have become intolerable, and we find the constitutional contract has been dishonored by those entrusted to act as our fiduciary deputies, trustees, and administrators. An immediate cessation of all hostile actions and presumptions against the people and the states of the Union and an immediate declaration of peace formally ending the Civil War and all other wars is called for. Any failure to provide this and all other appropriate remedies will result in the liquidation of the offending corporations via arbitration. We created the United States and the United States of America by our sovereign will, and as the creators we are uniquely endowed to take against the will and to amend the will and to destroy the will if we so desire. By the misadministration, duplicity, dishonor, and dishonesty of your predecessors we have not been served. Any continuance of these false claims and practices against American state nationals and the states of the Union will not be tolerated and will be subject to international prosecution as virulent crimes amounting to identity theft, credit theft, press ganging and inland piracy against these United States and the people of the United States. This is your notice of these facts. 23. All prosecutions against birthright Americans under the false pretense that they have agreed via any undisclosed or implied contract to act as citizens of the United States or agreed to cede their estates, assets, names or any other property naturally belonging to them to the United States or the United States of America are acts of international fraud and inland piracy and are subject to the death penalty for anyone caught intentionally and knowingly participating in or enforcing such crimes under color of law. The execution of foreign pirates caught in the act may be summarily carried out under citizen's arrest or by any lawfully elected sheriff or any duly appointed federal marshal under the public and organic law of this nation. This is your notice of these facts. 24. All birthright American state nationals presently accused of any white-collar, statutory, or victimless crime being held under false pretenses as citizens of the United States must be given full disclosure and released without further delay. This is your notice of these facts. 25. All property and rights and material interests naturally and lawfully belonging to birthright American state nationals must be promptly returned to them and returned to the land recording districts of these United States and to the administration of the actual organic states and people, together with all escrow accounts, interest, tithes, and fees owed to them. We suggest that the administration of the Internal Revenue Service be properly informed and pressed into service to discharge all outstanding debts owed by the fraudulently established individual United States franchises operated under the given names of American state nationals and obliged to deliver all copyrights, trademarks, titles, deeds, credit and other assets owed to and naturally belonging to the people of these United States without further obfuscation or delay. This is your notice of these facts. 26. In the interests of national and international peace and decency you are being requested and required to do the job that the trusting American people elected you to do in good faith as trustees and fiduciary deputies. Failure to do so will be your individual and personal admission of willful treason against these United States and against the people of these United States. No further excuses or word games are acceptable. The officers of the British Crown among the delegates either act with honour and fulfil their obligations owed to these United States and to the people thereof, or they shall be recognised as pirates subject to the penalties of both our public law and the international law of admiralty. This is your notice of these facts. 27. We wish to draw your attention to the ravages and rampages taking place in the so-called Western Compact states and the atrocities being willfully committed against American state nationals and their private property interests in those states by agencies of the United States. An innocent rancher named Robert Lavoy Finicum has been waylaid and murdered by men receiving their paychecks on our dole as agents of a corporation merely doing business as the government of the United States and its subsidiaries including the BLM and the FBI. These federal agents have acted as criminals and under false presumptions on our soil. We call for their immediate arrest and re-education. Any continuance of this violent racketeering is completely unacceptable and will not be tolerated. However, Congress has seen fit to organize its administration of the territories and District of Columbia. Its agencies clearly have no right whatsoever to attack, commandeer, address, or otherwise infringe upon the people of this country. Similarly, American state nationals including Ammon and Cliven Bundy and other Western state ranchers have been mischaracterized as citizens of the United States while in fact being people of these United States. We are not amused by the convenient and apparent acts of personage and barratry, crimes under both national and international law, which are being promoted by the trustees of the United States and the misnamed Department of Justice (INC) in their attempts to collect on odious debts owed in fact by their own corporations. What is being attempted is clearly a reverse trust fraud scheme in which the trustees of our nation are attempting to act as the beneficiaries and are mischaracterizing the actual beneficiaries of the United States Trust as the trustees of a foreign trust we never consensually agreed to participate in and to which we have no natural affiliation at all, the public charitable trust set up to provide welfare to displaced Negro plantation slaves in the wake of the Civil War. We suggest that the Congress release the Western state ranchers and honor its obligations and redirect its erring employees and inform the creditors of the United States of the actual status of these affairs without any further argument or delay. It may result in embarrassment, inconvenience, and considerable international negotiation to resolve, but all the governments of the world are in one way or another in similar condition, and the International Year of Jubilee provides an excellent opportunity for these festering wounds and causes of criminality to be recognized and healed without further bloodshed, violence, or crime. This is your notice of these facts. 28. The Congress, which is responsible for the operations of the government of the United States, that is, the U.S., Inc. acting as the government of the territories and District of Columbia, and the various presidents have committed a great many sins against the people of our nation and their organic states of the Union, including but not limited to all the items addressed in this notice. Beginning in 1933, the members of Congress have conspired with the office of the President and the governors of federal state franchises of the United States of America to embezzle from and defraud the American people. This was done primarily by legislative actions taken under color of law, including the Emergency Banking Acts, the Trading with the Enemy Act, and much more. As part of the historical fraud upon the people, the U.S., Inc. and the USA, Inc. colluded to set up a fiat currency to be exchanged on a dollar-for-dollar basis, a worthless promissory note issued by a cartel of international banks doing business as the Federal Reserve while in fact having no association with our lawful government, in exchange for an American silver dollar. This amounted to the exchange of a piece of paper backed by the good faith of criminals for an ounce of fine silver. As you all have cause to know, the Federal Reserve bankrupted the old Federal Reserve System and skipped town, owing these United States and the people of these United States trillions of dollars worth of gold and silver. The Federal Reserve's most recent iteration now proposes to use our labor and our assets to back more notes, and repeat the same scam. Only owing to the fact that they have already embezzled our precious metals, they now wish to up the ante and more overtly control and enslave us. This is your notice that we are not now and never were chattels, slaves, livestock, nor corporate franchises of the United States nor of the United States of America nor any other fictitious entity you care to name, and we are not subject to your statutory rule except by fraud, personage, barratry and criminal mercenary force. Put another way, the United States belongs to us. We do not belong to it. We are the priority creditors, first, last, and always. Any further attack, embezzlement, misrepresentation, collusion of banks, false claims, or legal chicanery undertaken against us or our interests will be recognized as an act of war against innocent third-party non-combatants, and you will be held individually and personally and commercially 100% liable. If this is not apparent to you, you should immediately step down from any office or pretension of office related to us or our lawful government in any way. This is your notice of these facts. 29. In full view of the national identity and credit theft which has been engineered jointly by the United States and USA against the people of these United States and the States of the Union, the present members of Congress must either abdicate and make way for new and more competent deputies elected directly and by paper ballot by the people of these United States, or do the right thing and clean up this mess once and for all. International criminal prosecution of the Federal Reserve and the IMF and all the colluding banking institutions including the World Bank and IBRD which received American gold and silver assets as their payoff for the 1933 fraud is necessary. As already noted, fraud has no statute of limitation and is a crime across all jurisdictions and venues of law worldwide. Immediate confiscation of the assets of these banks and the assets of shareholders and subsidiaries of these banks is appropriate and necessary for our national security, and as you should now be aware, if our national security goes, so does that of the territories and District of Columbia. Proper administration and discipline of the Department of Justice, the House Oversight Subcommittee, and the Government of the United States would be another start in the right direction. The BLM, FBI, and other agencies are here to serve the public, and if not, they are here to be dissolved. Immediate reissuance of American silver dollars as both our international and your domestic currency is required as a first step toward honest trade. Disengagement from all Middle Eastern conflicts is demanded, and you are advised that no contract to serve in the U.S. military is binding as a result of the same fraud and personage scheme herein otherwise described. Complete immediate cessation of spraying aluminum oxide and other poisonous industrial wastes on our land and on us is demanded without apology. Complete immediate cessation of the addition of fluoride, another poisonous industrial waste of the aluminum industry, to our drinking water, is also demanded without apology. The closure of most if not all foreign military bases which have been created under the auspices of the U.S., Inc. and the return of the land and buildings to the host countries needs to be negotiated post-haste. Our borders need to be sealed and protected and our assets secured against foreign invaders, and if they are not promptly defended and honored by you as members of Congress, you will stand revealed before the entire world as officers of a corporate crime syndicate subject to immediate liquidation. If President Obama objects to any of this remedial program ordered by the people of these United States and the States of the Union, it is your duty, so long as you assume any office related to these United States, to impeach him without further delay and remove him from any office having or pretending any authority whatsoever related to us. Notice given to you is notice to your agents and agencies, and notice given to your agents and agencies is notice to you. Most sincerely and by my hand and under my seal, by _Anna Maria Riesinger, all rights reserved. C.O. Box 520994 Big Lake, Alaska Postal Code Extension 99652. C.C. Ashton Carter U.S. Secretary of Defense 1000 Defense Pentagon Washington District of Columbia, 20301-1000 via U.S. Certified Mail Number 7013-3020-0002-1837-0405. Joint Chiefs 9999 Joint Staff Pentagon Washington District of Columbia, 20318-9999 via U.S. Certified Mail Number 7013-3020-0002-1837-0429. United Nations Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon C.O. United Nations Secretariat New York, 10017. Via U.S. Certified Mail Number 7006-0810-0003-3541-5465. Help support this work by visiting www.annavonreitz.com and look for the Donate button. Links to this article and more can be found in the video description box.